Mitchell the Friendly Postman by Nanny Linda. Lucy Joe was looking out of the window, patiently waiting for the mail van to arrive, and she shouted to Fay, her mum, when Mitchell the postman was walking up the drive. Mitchell was their regular friendly postman, who was very popular and great fun. He always had a beaming smile upon his face. You never ever saw him glum. He would usually give a greeting or shout through the letterbox, especially when delivering to number 2, as he knew Mr. and Mrs. Cox. An old pal from school was Desmond Cox. What a pair of rascals they had both been, and they had remained good buddies throughout their life and had had great fun together when they were in their teens. Mitchell always knocked upon the door of Zena at number 4, as he liked to greet her dog Boo Boo, who would roll around in excitement on the floor. No mail for number 6 today, but he would always give a shout. A friendly greeting to the Millers, didn't matter if they were out. Mitchell always felt so happy on Chestnut Avenue, such appreciative residents, and now all of them he knew. I would love to live here, he always thought as he delivered all their mail. Perhaps one day, when I retire, there may be a property for sale. At number 8, Lucy Joe was waiting for Mitchell with the door open wide. Are you going to visit Mum today? She asked. Are you coming inside? Chestnut Avenue was always Mitchell's last route of the day, and it really was a pleasure to visit and have a coffee with Lucy Joe's mum, Fay. Then quickly onwards to number 10 with a small parcel for Mr. Brown, who opened the door to Mitchell in his silky dressing gown. Had a bit of a late start, he said to Mitchell with a grin. Went to a party last evening and was rather late getting in. Have a great day, said Mitchell as he waved and walked back up the path. Hope you don't have a headache, Mr. Brown just replied with a laugh. At number 12, Dougie Jackson had just washed and polished his car till it shone. You've done a good job there, said Mitchell. I'll bring mine around for you later on. They both had a laugh and a natter. Then he took his post from Mitchell with a grin and said, it's probably all junk and rubbish. Can't you bring me a lottery win? On to number 14, where Raymond Roberts was repainting his old red gate. He seemed to be getting paint everywhere, so said, leave it on the wall, will you, Mitchell, mate? Mitchell walked off smiling, leaving several red footprints as he went on his way. He laughed and whispered to himself, don't give up the day job, Ray. Mitchell had nearly reached the end of Chestnut Avenue, and a newly renovated house, number 16, came into view, owned by Chris and Crystal Cunningham, an architect and a tour guide. Mitchell had admired their work so much he had been offered a look inside. They had become very friendly, and Mitchell had been invited for a meal. It was arranged for this coming Saturday, and they were going to be eating veal. Number 18, next to last, no mail for them today, but Mitchell knew that the Millingtons were away on their annual holiday. Number 20, and job nearly done, Mitchell gave the door a knock, but Mrs. Carrington-Willmott was struggling with the lock. Heavens above, Mitchell, it's stuck again. Can you help me out? So Mitchell pushed from outside, but the door was warped and stout. Chris and Crystal Cunningham came to lend a hand. They all placed their butts against the door and pushed at Mitchell's command. The door flew open fast and hard and crashed against the wall, so Mrs. Carrington-Willmott would have to repair and redecorate her hall. Now the door is open, you may as well all come on in. I was just about to make a cup of tea, and there are shortbread biscuits in the tin. During their conversation over a lovely cup of tea, Mitchell happened to mention that he could live in Chestnut Avenue quite happily, and that in 2 months' time he was retiring after being a postman for the last 15 years, and that gave Mrs. Carrington-Willmott a very good idea. She explained how she was moving to live closer to her sister Joan and her husband Bryce, and she would be happy to sell her house to Mitchell if they could privately agree a price. So they did, there and then, with the Cunninghams as witness, and shook hands and made the deal. I'll go and see my solicitor this afternoon, she said, and gave a happy little squeal. So it all worked out so perfectly, and Mitchell couldn't believe that his dream came true so unexpectedly fast. So on his retirement and completion of all the purchase contracts, he owned his dream home, number 20, at last. And then, after some renovations and lots of decorating and gardening too, Mitchell held a party for all the residents of Chestnut Avenue. So Mitchell the friendly postman could look out from his garden gate and see his good friend Lucy Joe and her mum Fay at number 8. And the conclusion to that part of the story, only time will tell if there will be some dating with the eventual sound of wedding bells.